King Solomon had demon slaves. Sounds crazy, but this is a hidden truth that few know. Discover how Solomon controlled demonic forces and the dark mysteries surrounding his reign. This shocking revelation will keep you hooked until the end. The reign of King Solomon is one of the most celebrated and intriguing in biblical history. Known for his unparalleled wisdom, abundant riches, and the construction of the magnificent Temple of Jerusalem, Solomon is a central figure in the Old Testament. However, beyond these achievements, there are legends and apocryphal accounts that attribute mystical powers to Solomon and control over supernatural entities, including demons. The introduction to Solomon's reign would not be complete without mentioning his request to God for wisdom. In 1 Kings 3 verses 5 to 12, God appears to Solomon in a dream and offers him anything he desires. Solomon asks for wisdom to govern his people justly, and God grants not only this but also riches and honor. This divine wisdom is frequently highlighted in various stories, such as the famous Judgment of Solomon, where he resolves a dispute between two women claiming to be the mother of the same baby. However, beyond the canonical narratives, there are texts and traditions that describe a more occult side to Solomon's power. Among these texts, the most notable is the Testament of Solomon, an apocryphal work detailing how Solomon received a magical ring from the archangel Michael. This ring, engraved with the seal of God, gave Solomon the power to command demons and evil spirits, forcing them to help him in his great works, including the construction of the temple. The Testament of Solomon offers a fascinating and often dark view of the king's capabilities. According to the text, Solomon used the ring to summon and subdue a legion of demons, each with its own abilities and weaknesses. These demons, now under Solomon's control, were forced to perform specific tasks, contributing to the glory and grandeur of his kingdom. The story of the ring begins when Solomon is confronted with a supernatural problem. A young worker at the Temple of Jerusalem is tormented by a demon named Ornias, who drains his vitality and health. Concerned for the worker's well-being and the progress of the temple's construction, Solomon prays to God for help. In response, God sends the archangel Michael to deliver the magical ring to Solomon. With the ring in his possession, Solomon invokes Ornias and subdues him, forcing him to reveal the identities and characteristics of other demons. Ornias, now under Solomon's control, is compelled to bring other demons to the king, who then subdues them one by one. Each demon is required to describe its capabilities, weaknesses, and how it can be used for the benefit of Solomon's kingdom. The magical ring and the knowledge of the demons granted Solomon unprecedented power. He utilized these supernatural beings to perform tasks that would be impossible for ordinary humans. Among these tasks were the construction of the temple, the execution of advanced engineering feats, and the protection of the kingdom against evil influences. The story of the magical ring and the Testament of Solomon not only highlights the king's wisdom but also his ability to deal with evil forces in a controlled and beneficial manner. This ring becomes a symbol of divine power conferred upon Solomon, allowing him to dominate the forces of chaos and use them to create order and greatness. With the power of the magical ring, Solomon managed to subjugate various demons and use their abilities to accomplish great feats, the most notable of which was the construction of the Temple of Jerusalem. This monumental work required an extraordinary amount of resources and labor, and the demons, under Solomon's command, played a crucial role in accomplishing this Herculean task. Before beginning the construction, Solomon used the mystical knowledge acquired through the demons to plan and design the temple. Paimon, the demon associated with wisdom and hidden knowledge, revealed architectural and scientific secrets that enabled Solomon to conceive a grand and innovative project. This advanced knowledge helped ensure that the temple was not only a place of worship, but also an architectural marvel. The demons were employed to prepare the necessary materials for construction. Beelzebul, with his colossal strength, was responsible for moving and cutting the enormous stones that would form the base and walls of the temple. These stones, quarried from distant locations, needed to be transported and sculpted with precision, a task nearly impossible without the intervention of these powerful beings. During construction, Solomon commanded other demons to erect the massive structures of the temple. Ornias and other demons worked tirelessly, moving and positioning the enormous stones with precision and speed. Their ability to perform physically impossible tasks for ordinary humans significantly accelerated the construction process. Asmodeus, known for his skills in arts and crafts, was used to create the decorations and artistic details that adorned the temple. Under Solomon's command, Asmodeus carved and adorned the walls and columns with intricate designs and ornaments, adding beauty and magnificence to the structure. This attention to detail ensured that the temple was not only functional but also aesthetically stunning. Lix Tetrax, the demon of winds and storms, was employed to ensure favorable weather conditions during construction. Under Solomon's command, Lix Tetrax controlled the climate, preventing storms and ensuring that the workers could continue their tasks without interruptions. This control of natural elements was crucial to maintaining the accelerated pace of construction. In addition to physical tasks, the demons were also used to protect the project from evil influences and sabotage. Abazoth, with her knowledge of diseases and death, was employed to create spiritual barriers that protected the workers and construction from any spiritual or physical attacks. This protection ensured that the temple was completed without major incidents. The use of demons in the construction of the Temple of Jerusalem not only allowed the completion of one of the most magnificent structures of antiquity, but also demonstrated Solomon's wisdom and power. His ability to command supernatural forces and use them for the good of his kingdom solidified his reputation as one of the most powerful and wise kings in biblical history. The Temple of Solomon became a symbol of devotion and grandeur, attracting worshippers from all parts of the world and serving as a spiritual center for the people of Israel. The narrative of its construction, with the participation of subjugated demons, adds a mystical and fascinating dimension to Solomon's story. Although controlling demons allowed Solomon to accomplish extraordinary feats, such as building the temple, he also faced significant challenges and moral dilemmas when dealing with these supernatural entities. These challenges shed light on the complexity of Solomon's power and responsibility as a king and servant of God. One of the greatest challenges Solomon faced was the danger of corruption. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and dealing with demons, inherently evil beings, could easily divert Solomon from his righteous path. Staying true to divine precepts while exercising such great control over evil forces required constant vigilance and unwavering devotion to God. The ability to command demons and perform extraordinary miracles could have inflated Solomon's ego, leading him to the sin of pride. The story of his wisdom and mystical power could have led Solomon to believe he was invincible or above divine laws. This moral dilemma was a continuous test of humility and obedience to God. Solomon also had to confront the ethical use of his power. Controlling demons to perform beneficial tasks, such as building the temple, raised the question of how far he could go without compromising his moral integrity. He needed to balance the need to use these powers with the responsibility of not abusing them or causing undue harm. Solomon's association with demons brought spiritual consequences. Even though he controlled them for righteous purposes, the proximity to evil could have repercussions on his own soul and the spiritual well-being of his people. He needed to be constantly in prayer and repentance to avoid his soul being tainted by evil influence. The use of demons by Solomon also had a significant impact on the religion and culture of his time. Although he was admired for his wisdom and achievements, the idea of a king controlling demonic forces could cause fear and distrust among his people. Solomon needed to carefully manage the public perception of his actions to maintain the trust and loyalty of his subjects. Solomon was known for his alliances and diplomatic relations with neighboring nations. The revelation that he controlled demons could have diplomatic consequences, influencing how other nations viewed him. He needed to navigate these complex relationships, balancing his mystical power with the need to maintain peace and cooperation with other kingdoms. Faced with these challenges and moral dilemmas, Solomon constantly reflected on the meaning of his power and the responsibility he carried. In Ecclesiastes, a book traditionally attributed to Solomon, he meditates on the vanity of all things and the pursuit of true wisdom and justice. These reflections show a man deeply aware of the limitations and pitfalls of his power, continually seeking God's guidance. The stories of Solomon's control over demons, though based on apocryphal texts and legends, offer several valuable spiritual lessons. These lessons transcend time and continue to be relevant to the faith and moral life of believers today. Let's explore some of these spiritual lessons. One of the most important lessons is the centrality of divine wisdom. Solomon asked God for wisdom, and it was this wisdom that guided his decisions and actions. The story reminds us that true wisdom comes from God and must be diligently sought. In Proverbs 9 verse 10, Solomon writes, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." The ability to control demons could easily lead to pride and arrogance. The stories of Solomon teach us about the dangers of becoming arrogant and overconfident in our own powers and abilities. Humility is essential to maintaining spiritual integrity. In Proverbs 16 verse 18, we read, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." Solomon had to use his power ethically and responsibly. This lesson is relevant to any position of authority or influence. We must use our power and abilities for good, not for exploitation or selfish gain. The New Testament echoes this lesson, as in 1 Peter 4 verse 10, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." Even with his power, Solomon was constantly aware of the presence of evil. This reminds us of the ongoing spiritual struggle we all face. Ephesians 6 verse 12 tells us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The stories of Solomon subjugating demons also highlight the need for spiritual vigilance. We must always be alert to evil influences and seek God's protection and guidance. 1 Peter 5 verse 8 advises, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." Despite the challenges and mistakes Solomon may have made, his stories also remind us of God's infinite mercy and grace. God gave Solomon the wisdom and ability to accomplish great deeds, and even in moments of failure, there was always a path to redemption. In 1 John 1 verse 9, we read, "If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness." The spiritual lessons derived from Solomon's stories and his mystical powers offer a rich field of reflection for believers. They invite us to seek divine wisdom, remain humble, use our power responsibly, be vigilant against evil, and trust in God's mercy and grace. These lessons continue to be fundamental to a life of faith and integrity. Solomon's legacy, especially concerning his mystical abilities and control of demons, has left a profound and lasting mark on culture and religion over the centuries. This legacy transcends the boundaries of the Judeo-Christian tradition, influencing various esoteric, literary, and cultural practices. Let's explore how Solomon's mystical stories have impacted different aspects of culture and religion. The accounts of the Testament of Solomon and other apocryphal traditions had a significant impact on esoteric literature. Solomon is often depicted as a master of the occult arts and a powerful magician. The Key of Solomon, one of the most influential grimoires, books of magic, in Western history, attributed to Solomon, contains instructions on how to invoke and control spirits and demons. The figure of Solomon as a master of supernatural forces inspired many magical and occult practices. In Hermetic tradition and Renaissance magic, Solomon is seen as an archetype of the wise magician who possesses secret knowledge and power over spirits. These grimoires influenced practices of alchemy, astrology, and other forms of occultism that flourished in medieval and Renaissance Europe. In Jewish mysticism, especially in the Kabbalah, Solomon is often mentioned as a wise possessor of esoteric knowledge. The legends about his wisdom and control over demons are integrated into Kabbalistic texts that explore the relationships between the spiritual and material worlds. Solomon is seen as someone who understood the deep secrets of creation and the human soul. The image of Solomon as a wise and mystical king also inspired numerous works of art and literature. In art, Solomon is often depicted in scenes of judgment or acts of magic, symbolizing his wisdom and power. In literature, His figure appears in tales, poems, and plays, highlighting his role as a wise ruler and powerful magician. Solomon's mystical legacy is multifaceted and complex, encompassing various cultural, religious, and esoteric traditions. His figure as a wise king and master of supernatural forces continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. These stories remind us of the relentless pursuit of wisdom, the power of faith, and the complexity of the spiritual forces that influence our lives. Solomon's wisdom, especially in relation to the use and management of money, offers timeless lessons that continue to influence financial and economic practices today. Solomon emphasized the importance of prudence and planning in various scriptures. In Proverbs 21 verse 5, he states, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." This principle highlights the need to carefully plan our finances, avoiding impulsive decisions, and ensuring that our investments and expenditures are well thought out. Solomon's wisdom also values diligence and hard work as paths to prosperity. In Proverbs 10 verse 4 he says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." This lesson is especially relevant today, encouraging a strong work ethic and the importance of consistent effort to achieve financial goals. Solomon teaches that true prosperity involves generosity and sharing wealth. In Proverbs 11 verses 24 to 25, he writes, "One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." This principle encourages philanthropy and charity, emphasizing that sharing our blessings with others can bring even more prosperity. Integrity is a central value in Solomon's wisdom, especially in financial matters. In Proverbs 13 verse 11, he declares, "Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow." Solomon highlights that wealth obtained honestly and ethically is more sustainable and beneficial in the long term. This principle is an essential guide for fair and responsible financial practices. Solomon also teaches that wealth should be viewed as a means to achieve greater goals, not an end in itself. In Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10, he observes, "Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income." This too is meaningless. This lesson is particularly relevant today, where the relentless pursuit of wealth can lead to dissatisfaction and the loss of essential values. Solomon advises on the importance of investing wisely and diversifying resources. In Ecclesiastes 11 verse 2, he suggests, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." This advice on diversification of investments is a fundamental financial principle that helps mitigate risks and ensure financial security. Solomon's wisdom encourages the continuous pursuit of knowledge and education, including financial education. In Proverbs 4 verse 7, he states, "The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding." This principle emphasizes the importance of continually learning about finance and economics to make informed and wise decisions. Solomon's lessons on money and prosperity are timeless and applicable in many areas of modern financial life. They teach us to plan carefully, work diligently, be generous, maintain integrity, view wealth as a means to greater ends, invest wisely, and pursue continuous financial education. By applying these principles, we can achieve a more balanced, ethical, and fulfilling financial life. Throughout this video, we delve into the fascinating and mysterious stories of King Solomon, exploring everything from his unparalleled wisdom to the apocryphal accounts of his control over demons. The lessons derived from these narratives invite us to reflect on the search for divine wisdom, the importance of humility, the ethical use of power, and constant spiritual vigilance. Solomon reminds us that even when endowed with great powers and abilities, we must always maintain integrity, seek divine guidance, and use our gifts for the greater good. These lessons are timeless and continue to be relevant to our lives today. If you found this video interesting and want to explore more biblical mysteries and inspiring stories, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Like and share this video with your friends so that more people can discover Solomon's fascinating stories and his timeless lessons. See you in the next video.